how did you navigate that challenge of kids? I know you would probably pull some kids after school, stuff like that. So what were some of your ways to get around that?
Well, first of all, before I want to say, you had a fan club back then, because when you would come to those rehearsals, I was like, who's that guy? Like, Farley, let him stay. That's Samar, let him stay.
Oh, that was my people, yeah.
But one thing I understood about the choirs, if they're doing something they enjoy, like I hate that they take away programs or whatever. When they're doing something they enjoy, it manifests in the other classes.
Absolutely.
So I try to impress that upon guidance counselors. Look, they're doing well, and I can keep an eye. If you want me, I'll keep an eye, make sure, There was a lot of times I would, if somebody wasn't doing well, I go talk to the teacher. Like we did all those field trips.
Yeah.
Let me go talk to the teacher. If I can get her, you
Yeah.
do the homework. Remember, you got to do the homework now, but it manifests in the other classes, and they become a better student if they're doing something that they enjoy, and I noticed this at Irvington and West Orange, but as far as, getting those students in those classes, I have to, talk the talk. Like, if they're in here, they're gonna, succeed.
Yeah,
because this is
felt.
what they love doing. So
Yeah.
if they're doing something they love, that might help them in, other classrooms, other, academics.
I agree, and I mean, I'm sure they study. Now, I think, was your dissertation on something like that, about the effect of music and academics or something like that?
The dissertation was on the hymnal.
Okay.
And the not the use of it, but the disuse of it, really.
Oh, wow.
But that it should be something that is retained in the churches, because there's a lot of history in it.
Wow.
But the master's was on monotone singers.
So what did your research find on that?
I'm sorry. Yeah, because there was a couple students I was working with, and there's no hope.
So do you believe that everybody can sing?
I believe they have the need, though, the want,
the desire,
desire,
and they have a voice. It's not that you don't have a voice,
right?
But you might not have the ear,
and that's
that
thing.
Connects the dots to that
right.
voice.
Because the brain is all connected in that too, But that was my master's. Yeah. So what were you saying about?
So I was just saying the connection between, like, because I also think like that. I believe that kids who, really embrace music. Like my piano students, for instance, because they have to think in both hemispheres of the brain, and they have to coordinate and think and read and all of the things that they're doing at the same time. I know, and I tell them that. I say, this is going to translate into your intellect everywhere else, because you're using high level, high functioning skills when you're in here reading a piece. And I like to let them, like, I teach them early how to read for themselves, so that now when I put a piece in front of them, I don't have to show you how to figure it out. Like, I give you some steps on how you break it down, and so that you can actually now learn it and play it. But I strongly believe that. Like, I strongly believe that their aptitude is even increased because of what they do in music. Yeah. How have there ever been anybody, whether at the urban school or I call it the suburban school, that challenged you, like in terms, because that's one issue that I find. I get support for the program, but I don't. But where the disconnect is that there's limited access. So at this point right now, I get this grade. That's it. These other grades, they're occupied with like AP classes. So that's the thing. They get blitzed with AP. It's like there was a time when they were saying everybody should get an AP class, whether they like really were qualified for it or not, just because there's a research that they believe that said access to AP classes or even sitting in one is more preparatory for college for a kid now because of the rigor. But I believe that the rigor of actually learning music is just as rigorous and just as mind stimulating. You know what I mean? Like literally, I'm talking about reading, piano, playing an instrument. I'm a big advocate for learning instruments because you have to learn the instrument and how to read it and process both of those things at once.
A lot entail. And at Irvington, there was a time when, well, most of the time, with the music, they stress for us to incorporate. And, music is not just reading, but it's counting.
Yeah.
It's history behind it.
Yep.
There's a science behind it, language behind it.
History, everything.
Yeah, and so they impressed upon us to, kind of incorporate that in the teaching, and it's crazy because where Irvington was concerned about testing, and
state tests,
state testing. West Orange was more a what you call it, the classes that you just mentioned.
Oh, AP and stuff like that. Yeah,
that was big difference. So we were able to get the students that we needed. In West Orange and Irvington, they were more concerned about the testing.
And that's one of those challenges in those different districts.
Yeah.
What's a musical myth that you grew up people saying this, you got to do it this way, or it's like this, and you're like, it wasn't like that. That's not necessarily true. Or can you even think of one?
I'll have to think about that. Give me a minute.
Okay, we come back to that one.
Yeah.
Oh, you keep thinking about it while we talk. What's something that you learned later that you're like, I wish I knew that earlier, because that would have changed something, the trajectory of something.
I was. This is a little off subject, but almost answering what you're saying. I am introvert, sort of introvert. So, and I just started realizing I don't look at myself like other people look at me.
Okay.
I'm trying to make this make sense, but especially earlier, I didn't have a lot of faith in myself. But as I watched how God was working, with the students, and even then I was like, am I? I was kind of doubting myself. I just wished I had a little bit more faith in myself.
Gotcha.
And was able to see what people see.
Yeah.
I think I would have been a better teacher.
Okay, I think you're a fine teacher, but I understand what you're saying. I think I hear you saying confidence in yourself, in knowing what you are and just trusting that.
Yeah.
Because I think that you were I don't know how if you know how much influence you were, because you were a strong man in the lives of a lot of kids who didn't have men in their life, who didn't have fathers in their lives. And I don't think you even know, you ain't signed up for that.
No idea.
You didn't know that,
Right.
but that was a fact. I mean, that's a fact in most urban places, but that was a fact. You know what I'm saying? And I know, looking back, there was a lot of kids who benefited from just seeing strong men in front of them. I mean, we always talk about it just in education period, like you need more strong men in front of kids, because they just, especially in urban areas, because they don't see as much, or even when they do see it, what do they see on TV? What do they see in the music they listen to? Those are people who are perpetuating one side of the coin, and so there's other things that it doesn't have to be over sexualized, which they see like in R&B, urban music, or even hip hop, or degrading to women. But you could see a strong, successful person, and that's what you provided.
Right. That's what I didn't.
And you didn't even know. That's the thing. It's crazy because again, you were that though. So whether you were confident about it, you were. So, and definitely I could imagine just thinking about like how that would have changed how you approached it, because that's really what it's affecting how you approach it. You know what I mean? Right.
That's true.
So that's
I got to give before I forget to props to Vanessa Farley, because during that time I was hardly,
you were
newly married.
So
we were hardly home. But she understood the dynamic with the students, because she also was a teacher. Before we got married, she did some subbing too, but she got it. And I think the a lot of the students who met her, kind of attached themselves to her as well. But if it hadn't been for her support, there would have been, because most teachers, like you said, they don't spend all that time, in 9 hours out. Like, I'm out. So
that's true. And shout out to supportive spouses. They matter, honestly. Right. I mean, especially I think if you're creative too, but I think your journey, again, like I said, you embraced all of these kids like they were all your kids, basically, enriching their lives through the experiences. So shout out to you for that, for sure. What was one of your highlights at West Orange?
Good question. Highlights there. Highlight.
Okay.
Was remember I said earlier that I wanted to challenge myself and get to a higher level of choral literature, and I think that's what I did.
That's what you got
particularly
there.
In those last few years. I mean, I wouldn't have been able to do Brahms' Requiem at. Maybe. I don't know.
You could have got there, but
maybe in your
it probably would have needed a lot more support to get there, and that's the thing.
And not just that, but it's more than just learning the notes.
Yeah,
like you're connecting with that, and understanding. That kind of writing or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think students, we're taking a lot more of it, but the students at West Orange kind of learned that as they were learning pieces. The Christmas Cantata by Pinkham, like I couldn't have done that at, and I did it with the band. And they were they're a phenomenal band.
That's dope. Yeah.
So
because you had colleagues who were also at that level,
right? Exactly.
Yeah. And they push you, like when your colleagues are on that level. Like, so I've had some colleagues which were on that level, and I've had some that just weren't, being honest. But and then now, and I'm talking about from music side, because you usually have a counterpart. Right. And so where I am now, I'm the only music teacher. So I've that's been also a push for me, is to because I think that there's iron sharpens iron. You get a strong instrumental teacher, then you guys get to challenge each other, on things that you could bring to the table. So that would be one thing that I would push for, even when I leave, I would say you need 2 music teachers.
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up, because as much as I enjoy working with Patricia Corman, I can't really say about West Orange. Maybe I better keep that comment to myself. But I love working with Patricia because I learned a lot from her. Being it was my first few years, and she came on board and showed me a lot of things that were possible. But I showed them how to go out, to actually park in those places, because they were scared to do that. Yeah. Her and Barry McCann, they were afraid to go out. Like, there ain't nothing to it.
To take the band out of the singers. Yeah. And I mean, fun. It's not. I think there's some, like, even me sometimes I'll probably like, are they ready to do it, stuff like that. But I mean, at the end of the day, they're kids, and if they're proficient in just singing, that's really what people want. They want to see the experience. They want the kids. They want the energy and all that stuff. One thing, when Dr. Corbin came, there was already a tone set, unfortunately, for the concert choir. With Mr. Fox.
Yes.
Because we were a show choir.
Yes, that's right.
And so we were doing jazz and, all that movement and all that stuff. And it was incredible. Yeah. We were touring. Yeah. We went all the way to Elmira, New York.
Yeah, he was in it. Yeah.
And it was fun. But when she came, she just had a more formal approach. Like, you guys are Black kids and y'all need to learn how to read music. Yeah, like she was just really like, Mom, like, I need to give y'all vitamins. Y'all need to eat these vegetables. And at first I was just like, nah, I don't like this. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But again, even by senior year, she was still committed to her students, because I don't even think I stayed in the choir all 4 years, but she still was like, yo, you're a great student. You're a great talent. I'm going to prepare you for these auditions.
Wow.
So again, reflecting on it, like her commitment to her students was just unmatched in terms of.
Yeah. And it's important. Like I like that. And that was one way that she showed me things are possible, because, I couldn't see probably, teaching the sight sing, teaching, students at the time. I know there may have been maybe, students like you who were like musically inclined and would have probably, grasped that and understood it. But if you don't, have no dealings with, music like that, you don't want to.
That's a hard introduction to make.
Yeah.
Because it takes a certain level of discipline, not only from your part. And then for me, not necessarily coming from a big background. I mean, we did it. So it's not, I would never say, I ain't never learned theory. No, we did. Yeah. We had the master theory books and all that stuff.
Okay.
So it was definitely introduced to us. However, knowing the background of some of our counterparts who also went to school, who were learning from elementary school, they had a whole path.
Right.
So I remember when I did my, student teaching, I did an observation at a high school, and these guys were count singing 1 and 2 and T and 1 and same thing that they were doing at Allstate.
Okay,
and we were like, "What are they doing?" But that was their practice. Like it was such ingrained into the culture that it was normal. So by the time we get to a Westminster, and I'm trying to follow the music. These people are they're not already learned the music.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was the plight of a lot of us there. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Unfortunately. And not our fault. Right. I feel like we had rich background in other aspects of music and performance and ear training.
Yes. Yeah.
That some of them couldn't, catch up with. But it's interesting, What's something that you wish you did that you didn't get to do? Either as an educator, as a musician?
Well, I think I've done everything I wanted to do. But what I was going to say earlier was, as much as I love working with Patricia and the co-teaching thing, I would have, not at Irvington maybe, but at the other school, I would have rather run the program myself. I would probably say, if you're going to, and I know it's great to have all these teachers, but band is one thing. Yeah. They got marching band, they got all that going on. I can see them having several teachers. But choir, one. That's all you need. Yeah. Because, say I'm from Westminster and you're from where? I'm not putting but we go. I do it this way. I don't want to sing any names, but
I know you've had challenges with like differing opinions on how to do that.
Right.
Because
exactly.
it's almost like a marriage, and you got to court with each other and get on the same page.
And I don't want to do that.
Or not everybody's open to it, or to compromise with that.
And I'm talking even if you have a certain way. A certain method, and it's coming up from the grade school. Like even when we meet, we're not all on the same level. I would have rather said, look, this is how it should start. Let's start here. And by the time they get to the high school, we good.
Yeah. We already have, and it was actually something I tried to introduce. Our school system is a little bit different, a little unique because school to school, the school leaders kind of control what happens. Whereas so if they don't have the personnel for it, then they don't do it. So let's say if you wanted music in all those classes, if they don't have the personnel, like if they can't hire the right person or they don't have the retention, because that's an issue amongst a lot of young teachers, sometimes retention. Teachers aren't staying in the profession all the time. And in charter, it was in public schools as well. You have a lot of people who transition into teaching out of other careers. So you have alternative route programs and opportunities definitely for people to bring their real life experience into teaching.
Right.
But usually they have a couple of years to get the certification. Right. Which again is a gateway to give them an opportunity to enlighten and bring those experiences. But some people they just not built for it in certain districts, I think, you know, or even at all. You know, some people, they think, oh, teaching's just this. And they get in there and the challenge of it is like, oh, they challenging me,
right?
My personality,
Right.
my, you know, everything I've learned all my life. So, you know, what as a teacher, as a music teacher, I would say, what's some advice you would have for like a young music teacher?
Well, the best advice, well, there's several things, but the number one thing is you have to love music enough, you know, to want to share it, you know, to want to pass it on, because there are, I learned this when I was teaching, there are people that I found, students that I just found, you know, they'd be humming in the hallway or something like, yo, you sing? You
sing?
You know, yeah. So you got to love it enough to want to recruit and no matter what the challenges are, whatever your goal is, to build a choir, or, you know, the ultimate goal is to get that student to appreciate music, you know, even when they seem at first they're not, you know, they're not going to, you know. And I know in a lot of schools, you know, even both schools I was at, you know, the guys were like singing, you know, like, yeah, okay. But the tenor and bass section be the biggest sections in the groups. But you know, as far as the advice, you know, you got to love music enough to want to share it and teach it, and you have to have stamina. Yeah, you know, if you don't have that, it's a wrap. You know,
absolutely. Especially these days. So what in your last few not days, but years as a teacher, you got to see different generations.
Yes. Matter of fact, I had maybe 2 or 3 generations of students that I had their parents.
Oh wow!
You know, or whatever. You know.
So what was that like? I know. So as a teacher who's been in the field now 25 years. I see. First of all, I see the change. It's a whole different landscape. I have students that are almost principals, you know, at other schools, which is crazy to me too. But how did you have to pivot a little bit in your approach? Because kids are different. I find kids to be different. Now, some things are the same. Some things are just consistent. But like, you have to approach things sometimes differently. I do. So did you have to deal with that? And what did you have to do?
Well, as things change, you know, the atmosphere, I was pivoting out the door. but
okay, this is my exit.
But yeah,
like the piano.
Yeah, I could see the light at the end of the tunnel. I was fortunate enough, and this is both schools, I didn't have to pivot too much because once the younger kids came in and saw the models of the higher grades were models for them. Yeah, they tried to keep that model. Yeah. You know, and as they moved up, they were, you know, showing like,
this is the standard that was already set.
We ain't gonna mess that up.
Yeah,
you know,
that's good.
So and that happened every year.
Yeah,
you know, and so I would lose a bunch of students to graduation. Like, oh man, it's gonna be crazy. But the next group would come up, and you know, they would handle it.
Yeah,
you know. So I was lucky, fortunate.
Yeah.
With that,
that's great.
You know,
that's great.
Not a lot of pivot was, except for that last year when I was pivoting.
I remember I came to visit you. I think it was like the last year. And I felt like, I think it was like a piano class or something. He was like, yeah, I think it's almost done.
I'm not even gonna lie. I actually, if I was the solo teacher there, I would probably still be teaching.
Yeah.
That, and they also put in my hands not autistic, but a special needs class.
Yeah.
And that it didn't seem like that was my forte. I didn't know how to handle that.
Right, that was new.
Yeah. And so I was like, I can't do this.
Yeah, yeah.
And so when COVID came and I had to teach that class, that particular class, I'm like, I can't.
Yeah.
I think that was the final.
That was already like,
that was it,
wow.
know?
Yeah, that's a challenge.
I didn't feel like I was capable.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, I hear you. I hear that. What's next? You how's the retirement life?
Retirement life is great. I don't have to, get up. I was stressing because I had to get up 4:30 in the morning and drive. But during the time that I was doing it, it was worth it because I enjoyed working and teaching, music while at West Orange and Irvington. I enjoyed both until the paperwork got too excessive.
Right.
I was also working the Jubilee Choir, which wasn't a class at West Orange.
Okay.
It was an extracurricular activity. Step teams were doing excellent.
And your step teams they won awards and everything.
Well, they won
that you started.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah,
again, you
25 years ago. Actually, this is their 25th anniversary.
And they were just on TV.
They won Sherry.
Oh, Sherry Shepherd.
Sherry Shepherd. Yes.
Yeah.
They were. So that made it.
How was that? Seeing that.
They had done so much, like seeing
they
that.
They had already done that. They won trophies.
Yeah.
We already did that.
Let's just add that to the. Add it to the resume, It's all good, It's funny because Sherry Shepherd show called me, and
you didn't tell him I'm retired.
Yeah, that's what I did. I was like, you got the wrong guy, but I will hook you up with the guy is there. And so he was afraid because of other things that were going on. They weren't letting them do transportation. I'm like, dude, they're gonna let you go.
Yeah, for Sherry Shepherd.
Exactly. Yeah, they so the lady called me back. Like, I want to talk to you anyway. So because I want you at the show. Yeah, but anyway, they changed the day because it was a snow day, and and I wasn't able to make the other day that they
gotcha.
had. But yeah,
but that's part of your legacy, man.
Yeah. That's what I say. I think about these things, and I was like, I don't see myself the way other people see me, and I guess I have to understand that these things or this journey I was on made a difference in people's lives. I have to understand that.
Absolutely. I mean, those are amazing times though. Like when you're in history making, you're not I would imagine anybody who's in history making. I mean, Michael Jackson doing Thriller,
right?
I'm pretty sure they weren't sitting there like, we about to make history. Now, I know they were trying to make history, but they didn't know they were going to make history.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
so true,
they were going for it. They were shooting for their biggest shot, and they definitely knew they had hot fire, but they didn't know. Like, you know what I'm saying? Right. So your awareness is just like, I'm gonna just do this great job. I'm gonna do the best job I can do.
Yeah.
And listen, you have. We could have students probably miles long in a line to talk about the things that you've accomplished and imparted into them. So, I'm happy to be on that line too, because you've done so much to just bring joy of music. And again, like you said, if the goal is just for a new teacher just to be love music so much that they want to share it, I think that's it sounds simple concept, but it's the whole concept.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Because if you don't love it, then what are you doing? Why are you here? You know what I mean? To be honest. Right. What is now, we didn't talk about this. So this would be the last day we could talk about. Okay. While you were teaching, because this is something that I've also did. While you were teaching, I've seen you doing camps at churches. I've seen you doing church jobs, you know what I'm saying? And that's something that I've always done. I've always had like multiple, things or outlets musically. Mm-hmm. I've seen you record. I've seen you perform at jazz clubs, all of these things. Yeah. How important was it for you to maintain those personal experiences and developments of your own music, even while teaching others?
I think my philosophy is if your students can't see that you're, skilled in your own craft, that they won't believe. Not so much that they won't believe. Or they won't have that sort of model to look up to.
Wow, right. Sense. No, I know what you're saying. I know exactly what you're saying.
So a lot of time, this is why I continue with my education, because I wanted to, in a sense, say this is all possible.
Yeah.
And I'm teaching, and it's a lot, but I have the skill enough to compose if I want to.
Yeah.
To record if I want to. Not that I'm the greatest, but I'm just saying. And I also have a church obligation.
Yeah.
And I want my kids at my own church to say, I'm teaching.
Yeah.
And I'm also doing, you can, this is all possible for you to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. One of the things we talk about is pivoting, like where, perhaps, not you, but like someone was, trying to be a touring musician or a singer or an artist. And those things are always few and far between, to be honest with you. Some people make it and it's amazing to see them do it. Yeah. And then others, they do it, but they have spotty times where it's actually, sometimes they're working, sometimes they're not, depending on the artist they're with, depending on the network they're in. And sometimes you got to pivot to something else. Like you get a family, you have to now provide for that family and not just look out for your accomplishing your dream.
Right.
I work with young and old musicians all the time. That was why I brought that up, because even though you were teaching, you didn't give up on those other dreams, those other outlets. And so that's why I was saying, how important was that to you? Like I said, you brought me on to play at Trumpets Jazz Club on a gig with you. And that was fulfilling, because it was an opportunity that without living in that world more, I probably wouldn't have ever performed there. You know what I'm saying? So what has those experiences been like? And like you said, it's showing your teacher. There was a guy who we went to a PD once who was talking about, you got to be a master. And because if you're the master, when you show kids something that's hard for them to do, but you've mastered it, it's attractive. It's like, oh man, I want to learn that too. You know what I'm saying? Now, some people might be afraid, okay, if I show you something that's too advanced, you might be like, I just can't do it. but kids are attracted to things that are difficult, especially in a world where things are so easy.
That's right.
Or accessible.
Yeah. So you use this when I was teaching my bass player and drummer a song, and see how to use this. And so someone said to me, if you want them to be a better player, have them listen to what the guy is doing on the record, because even if it's a challenge, they will meet that challenge. If they have to, if they're really interested. And so that's how I feel. I don't want you just to be, average.
Yeah.
It's a certain level of achievement you can make. If you listen and you learn, you learn. So I'm trying to make this metaphor where, because I did a couple CDs, they weren't that great.
No, they were fine.
They were all right, but they could have been better.
Okay.
But you have to have the means to make it better. But like the basses on there, for example, if you want him to be a better bass player, let him listen to, more challenging works.
Yeah.
And that will make them, drive them to be a better
because
player.
You're setting the bar for them.
Right.
Like whatever you listen to, if it's mastery level, then it's something that they could aspire to. And if they're literally into it, like you said, they will find their way closer to it. Right. I think that's important. Yeah. So what musical challenges are you now? You got a lot of life left in you, because people think, okay, retirement. That's
it. Well, it took me a minute to feel what retirement really is, because I wake up and I was like, okay, I'm supposed to be doing something. Like, I don't know. but I do want to continue with music. And for a minute, I didn't really have any drive because I'm just exhausted and drained. But as I continue to listen, because there was a time when I just stopped listening to music, period.
Yeah.
And I just lost all track of who's doing what, what artist is hot right now. I just didn't have the drive for it. But now, I'm starting to listen again, and it's getting back in my spirit, as they say.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm starting to feel like I want to compose again.
Yeah.
My heart will be in it, because I do have a lot of life left.
Absolutely.
I'm sort of tired of the, you're younger, but I've been playing for 50 years now on the piano every Sunday morning, but I really want to pass it on to other people.
Right.
If I was able to do that, I'd be good.
Yeah.
But I want to write more.
Yeah.
I do want to play more, but not as a obligation.
Yeah.
I just want to, work on some classical and learn how to play like you.
Oh, get out of here.
No, seriously, because I'm watching piano tutorials now. Like, how do they do that anyway?
Yeah.
But that's where I am now.
Yeah. Well, you can do whatever you want now. You got time.
Yeah. If I don't get hooked on Netflix, but but my thing is, like, I got to keep saying to myself, you can do this, but you don't have to. You can chill if you want to.
Yeah.
Take a break.
Yeah.
That's my mind is.
Yeah.
So, but that's where I am right now. But I do miss making the music and teaching the music with students.
Yeah. So maybe you probably ain't signing up for that again, though, and no obligations. but there's other ways you could do it. I mean, there's tons of ways. I mean, I think about when I retire as soon as possible. But no, I'm just kidding. But I think about, like, what's on the horizon, and, like, I think I would probably like to teach, be a professor, a college professor. I'm thinking about that.
Also, I had that in mind, and if I pushed, I probably could find something somewhere.
For sure.
If it's not, a distance. But the more you're inactive, you're fine with it.
Yeah. So you can do it or not. Yeah. Take it or leave it. So, yeah. But listen, man, I appreciate you coming. Thank you so much. Thank you for what you've done and how you've imparted in many, 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 many students. I probably couldn't even count how many. Like, you did 30 years of teaching?
30 years, yeah.
So, I mean, that's at least, I don't know. What do you think? About 5,000-10,000?
Yeah.
Easily.
I'm sure.
Easily.
Easily.
Yeah. That's wild. But I mean, again, like, that's the job. That was the job. And again, when you were in it, you weren't like, oh, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna look back on this one day. You were just doing it.
Yeah.
Just doing the thing. And so, I mean, I appreciate you, love you. And I know, so many people. I mean, people who aren't even in music anymore, they were impacted with you. People who don't even know you. They didn't know you then, but they know the impact you had, whether in the community, whether in music. Like I said, we were going up against rival choirs in those McDonald's Gospel Fest when we knew that they were fixed. Yeah. Because we were at the church of the person who won. But even then, those people respected you because they saw what you were doing. I mean, and it wasn't common. You know what I mean? Right. So, spending evenings at those McDonald's Gospel Fests, having to wait to all the performances and the hosts sing all their songs and all this stuff. But all of that, again, those were experiences. It's crazy. My wife was at one of the McDonald's Gospel Fest we won. I didn't even know her. You know what I'm saying? But she just happened to be there because it was just an event that everybody was going to at the time. It's just crazy when you think about all of that. New York, because we had to do some stuff in New York and Newark, whatever. So, I mean, like I said, the journey was amazing. I was fortunate to be a part of a lot of that in the beginning. And so I'm grateful, for our relationship throughout these years. And listen, you're part of my story. So no matter what, I'm always going to mention you because you're part of that story.
Thank you. I want to say real quick. My last year at West Orange, when they awarded me the Teacher of the Year, and I said this then, I'll say it again, it wasn't necessarily anything that I did that I, believe. It was the students who really made me who I was, or who put me on the map, or who gave me the props that, were given to me. So, I know I was there, and I say right place, right time.
But you were navigating it though.
Yeah.
Even if, again, like you mentioned, like you didn't feel like you had the confidence at the time, but you showed up.
Yeah.
So even if that was as much as you needed, you had. I'm sure you had it, but you might not have felt it. But again, you didn't show that. You showed up, and that in our community, that's more than what some people do. Is even just show up, be consistent.
Okay. Right.
Your consistency, your diligence, that spoke volumes. Even if you didn't feel like you were up to the task, you were doing it.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So
I'll take that.
we thank you. and like I said, recording artists all over the city inspired by you. So I mean, you know all the people that we have.
Yeah.
And not just recording artists, just actors, everything.
Right.
So you know what I mean? We have like I said, you could probably do a whole thing and be like, have a whole credits just for you. But again, I'm glad that you're still here, and anything you need from me, you got. So, but thank you for coming and sharing. Anything else you want to share, like just in your journey?
I'm still trying to think of that musical myth, and I can't really think of one.
Musical myth?
I can't think of one. Maybe I'll send a text or something. But no, I appreciate being here, Samar, and. Again, I'm always so proud of you, the work that you've done. And I know there are quite a few students who are doing so wonderful and succeeding. And I'm so proud of all of them.
Yeah.
And I still hear from a lot of them. They text me, they call me, and every once in a while, hey, Farley, I just wanted to say, I never had a chance to say this, But it's all because of God,
Yeah.
Right, again, right place, right time. And God has put me on this journey, and I've appreciated the walk.
Yeah,
I've appreciated you all.
So you could say, well, let me ask you this question, this final question. Mm-hmm. How has your faith basically shaped your entire journey?
This was, how you try to find what it is God has for you to do. This was that.
The purpose.
This was that.
Yeah.
This was that.
Yeah.
And so I know after, I know God is pleased, and I pray that he's pleased, because if this is the walk he wanted me to take, I hope I did okay.
I don't know. I believe so. And I think it's your turn to enjoy and find whatever way you want to take that path, because like I said, you still can do anything you want at this point. So I'm glad to have you, man. So you could check out his recordings. He talking about they not good. They were good. They were great.
They're all right. I'm not gonna put Harry down like that.
He did a good job.
Yeah.
What's crazy, and before we go, I remember the first time I heard you sing.
Okay.
Because you weren't singing a lot. You would teach parts, but I remember the first time you sang a solo.
Okay.
On a run out, on a gig. Mm-hmm. And everybody was like, Farley can sing.
I don't remember that.
And that was like, because you didn't do it often.
I didn't.
You didn't sing often, but when you did, it was like, this guy can sing. Amazing. So
thanks.
Again, that's
my younger days had to be.
I
don't feel like that anymore.
But that's that mastery that we talk about, just showing the mastery. And like I said, this guy did this thing, this hand trick, and he was saying because it's something difficult that kids can't just do. They gravitate to it even more because you show mastery in it. And like I said, you were a blueprint for so many things: character, patience, humility, music, all of the things, and just inconsistency. Like I said, the consistency factor alone, you showed up. You wasn't absent a bunch of days and all that stuff, which people who are into their life, it happens, right?
Right.
But you were there. Like, people were like, Farley's going to be here. You know what I mean? And so, and so many people, I mean, I know you probably had many more stories of people and their stuff, but because they just needed somebody consistent. And so, I appreciate you for being that. So
thanks.
Check out my man Farley. He has music, and I'm sure you're going to continue making music.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we'll be working on some music together, and we're definitely. I'm gonna show off his voice to you guys. You're gonna hear how good he is. I mean, look, we lost some people, man. Carlin, amazing
Katrina
singer,
Bradford,
man.
yeah,
Katrina,
Carl,
Katrina was one of the best. Contralto voices. Oh my gosh,
man.
Amazing.
I cry when I think about that. Malik.
Yeah, Malik Jones. Yeah. Gemini.
Yeah,
all of those people, man. But amazing singers that in some way directly and in some indirectly they came through you, man.
Yeah.
So you've impacted so many, and I guarantee you. We have our reunion this year, so we're gonna be talking about
So maybe I'll pop through.
You should pop through. We'll talk about that. But This is the Musicianship Podcast. Again, I'm with my family now, so we go a little longer when it's family, because we get to talk about old times and relive some of our history. But Dr. Farley, put the doctor on his name. You did the time, so we gotta give you your props. So thank you for having him, and look him up. You'll find his music, and we're gonna put out some more stuff, so you're gonna hear it. I might do a project just for you, just in honor of you, but to make sure that people hear you. All right.
Nice.
So, but God bless you.
God bless, man. Thank you. Thanks, man. Hope I did okay.
Oh, you did.
Thanks for listening. To stay up to date between episodes, follow us on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram, and make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel. If you liked what you heard today, or if there's something specific you want us to dive into next, leave us a comment. Catch you in the next episode.